So hi, I'm Mathieu Veltem from Atos Origin. So what I'm going to talk today is how to use some Polarsys tools, so mainly Papyrus, ReqCycle, and Gendoc, to handle specification and design of a critical system. So the use case I will use is the Rover use case, which is the official use case of Polarsys to demonstrate tools. So what is the Rover use case? That's quite simple. That's a little rover that needs to go around the room, find obstacle, and give back a map to the user. So like I said, the objective of this talk is to show the tools, not really the use case. The use case is a support. So I will go a little in details on some part of the use case, but it's not the main topic. I will handle most of the ReqCycle that we see here. The gray box here are not presented in the talk because I don't have the time. And but all the principles that are present here could be applied for these two boxes. So I will focus on one requirement of the use case. I will also present some other of the requirement, but this will be the main topic. So the rover, so we can travel around and stuff like that, need to have some sensor, actor, plugs. So to handle that, we need to have a pluggable architecture, either hardware or software. So here we will more talk about the software part. So first, specification and validation tests. So here we have some high-level requirements in an Excel format, which are coming from your client, for example. And on the other side, you have some validation tests, which also usually come from higher. And we would like to import it in Eclipse and do links between them. So we can say this test is validating this high-level requirement. Oh, I forgot to say that a lot of the presentation is demo. So to handle this first level, I will mainly use ReqCycle. So what is ReqCycle? ReqCycle is requirement management software. You can define your own custom data models with custom attributes. You can have predicates on the data models to say, for example, for filtering purpose. You can say, I want all the requirements in V1, for example. This predicate can then be used to do some advanced GUI customization. Like showing the requirement with a specific icon when a property change, or when it's traced or verified, for example. We have a pluggable architecture for the data sources. So we currently handle OSLC documents, so that will be the case I will present here, REQIF and EMF models. We also have the structure to handle updates of the upstream requirements. I will show you that at the end. And of course, we can create requirements in the software. So this is the first part of ReqCycle, management of requirements. The second part is the traceability management. So for that, we have a full set of possibilities. You can trace basically anything that can be addressed by URI or an identifier. You can specify which one of your model, your artifacts you want to trace. For example, if you want to trace requirement to models, you can assign a specific name for this link, etc., etc. So you can see all the use case here: model to code, code to test. I will show you anyway. We also have some export traceability functionality to export traceability. We also have implicit analysis of traceability. For example, if we are in SizeML models, you don't have to manually specify that the citify links in the model needs to be interpreted. It's automatically done once it's configured. And we also have an extended traceability view where we can go through the whole V cycles regarding the traceability. So here I will show to you how to really use the tool. I will not go over all the configuration phase. So what is already done is the data model is already configured. The predicates that I'll talk about earlier are also predefined. The filter and the styles also. We also have to define some rules for the parsing of the documents, for example, the word of the Excel file. And I already also imported the documents. So let's go through the demo now. Sorry. So here you have some high-level requirements. So that's quite simple. Some ID, a category, a description, and a target version. So we will focus on the first one, which says that we must support pluggable architecture. You can find everything related to exploring after and mapping. You also have non-functional requirements like safety, where you don't want your rover to be on the other sides, otherwise it can't really work. And we have a test specification document that is also quite simple. It's basically the other way around of the high-level requirement. So those two documents can be found here. So you have the test files and the requirement files imported. Here we have the requirement view. You can specify which source you want to display. So for example, let's display the high-level requirement. Here you can see the attributes. You also can fully customize the view, so the icon is customizable, the label is customizable. Here we are retrieving the attribute and displaying it inside the label. You also have, like I said, some filter. So let's say I only want the requirement in V1 and V2. I can do that, and I have a new hierarchy of requirements. So let's close this one. Let's say I want a new view of requirement to have the test requirement. I can tick this one to have a new instances, then select a new source. So here are the test requirements. So let's say now that I want to link the 10 tests, which say that we must support various payloads, to the requirement. That's a simple drag and drop. Here it calculates the possibility between the two artifacts, and is displaying the kind of link possible, so which is HLR verified, to say that the high-level requirement is verified by a test. So let's do this. As you can see, the icon went to yellow. So like I said earlier, this is fully customizable. The labels also change. We removed the attributes. Let's trace another one for demo purpose. So this one, which one is saying this one? This one is from exploration. So this one also. Same. So here. So here we have handled the first level of the ReqCycle. Let's go back to the the presentation. So now that I have my specification and my test imported and linked, I I would like to specify a little more my requirement to have a finer granularity that will be closer to the design. I could be doing that directly in ReqCycle, but what we will do here is have a SysML requirement model and link it to the requirement coming from the Excel. So to that purpose, we will use Papyrus to handle the SysML UML edition. So what is Papyrus? Papyrus is an UML SysML designer. It's the official one of Eclipse. It supports all the diagrams. It also has some tabular edition to handle to an easier handling of links, for example. You have a very high level of customization. You can customize your diagrams using CSS. You can customize the property view, but also the palette, which is used to create the element in the diagram. And in code, you can also specify the new diagrams, for example. So regarding the configuration here, it's a lot lighter. We create a CSS to do some adaptation of the visual when we are covering a requirement. So now, let's go through the demo. So here I am opening in Papyrus my SysML requirements model. Yep. So here it is. So we draw some packages. Usually one packages will handle one high-level requirement. And we have some refined requirement inside. So the first one says that we should use a USB communication bus. We have some requirement to say that we must be able to handle a camera or a GPS. So now let's come back to the high-level requirement. And let's say that I want this requirement to be covered by this low-level requirement. So like previously, a little drag and drop. You have a link is HLR covered. Stuff. Okay, great. So here you can see that the styling has changed again to a star to say that it's both covered by a low-level requirement and also verified by tests. We also, let's take some mapping requirement to show you the last styling. Well, I think I'm not clicking right. Should go further. Okay. And here it's go to green when it's only covered by a low-level requirement and not currently tested. I haven't shown you yet the CSS styling. I will show you on the next part. So now that we linked high-level requirement with low-level requirement, we have some detailed design in Papyrus. That's UML design, SysML design. And we would like to link them between. To do that, we will use only Papyrus, not ReqCycle. ReqCycle will handle the works to interpret the Papyrus link, the SysML link, to be more specific, and display it in the tree. Oh, I will show you the tree too. So here you have a path tree view. You can select a requirement, add it to the view, and then you can see all your link. So you can see that the link, the test is verified. You can go further normally. Yeah. So you can also see that we have a low-level requirement linked. So now, let's open the design. So this is a quite simple design with a main entry point, a block to handle the movement, the map, and the one we will focus is a USB driver, which is used by a lot of the other components. So now, first, to do a link between the two models, we need to import the other one. So let's import the requirement models. Import. So here you can see the imported requirement model, which is great because it's read-only, which is kind of logical. So now, to do a link, we can create a new diagram requirement. Oh, first let's apply the CSS file. So here it overrides the previous theme. So you will see that all we go black and white. Yeah, except the one that I covered, which is green. I will open the CSS file to show you it's really simple. You can say, yeah, if I have a class with an applied stereotype ReqCycle, and the attribute is covered is true, I want it to change to green. So here the attribute is linked through a profile to the ReqCycle engine. For example, if we go on the requirement, you can see in the profile section that I have a ReqCycle profile, stereotype, sorry, with an attribute which is here to true. If I take the other one, it is false. So on the back end, it calls the traceability manager to see if it is covered. So now let's handle our link. So we can take an operation of the USB driver, for example. Take the requirement, which is again green. You can add a certify link. Then you can save it, and through a refresh, you should be able to see the satisfies and the operation underneath. Currently, there are nothing under. So I think I'm okay on this one. So now the last part. So we are going to the design. Now we wrote some code. So currently we don't have generation for the use case, but I think working with Charles, we should do a better presentation with working code later. So we would like to link the design with the code. So to do that, so the code. Okay, so the code doesn't really do anything useful. It compiled, but we can't really, at least it's not easy to handle drag and drops in the textual editors. So to handle that, we have a more generic view that is called Traceability Creator that can basically handle everything that is selectionable. So here we can, for example, put this view. Select my send frame operation, add it. and on the code. So same here, if I select, I don't really have something in the selection in the editor. You need to select it in the AST, in the tree, either here or either in the overview view that I don't have here. But let's stick with that. Here it is. So then underneath, it's going through the possibility of the traceability links, and we can see that I can go right to the code. So basically, we can handle everything that has a path in Eclipse. So now that we have handled the traceability on the whole ReqCycle, we would like to, for example, for critical section, usually you have to deliver documentation to the certification process. The documentation needs to handle the traceability on the full level. So we have a tool called Gendoc to do that. This tool is doing a generation of Word or OpenOffice documents from EMF models. It's compatible with Papyrus, Sirius, RSA, XML files. It's template-based, so you directly code inside Word with Axeleo code. So the template has already been defined. So we have an adaptation of the traceability manager. We have an EMF interface, so we can use it with basically any tools that can hit EMF, like Gendoc, which has we don't have a direct integration currently. It's going through the EMF adaptation. So first we have a traceability matrix. We are seeing the low-level requirements, the tests, and the high-level requirements. Then we include the design diagram. And then we are going through each part of the design to see if it covers or if it's covered some requirements or if it goes through to the code. So let's go to our USB driver. So here we can see that on USB driver we have the send frame. The send frame satisfies the low-level requirement 10 and is implemented by code by the USB manager send frame. Specification update. So like I said earlier, we also handle updates. So let's say another set of requirements are coming from the certification or for your client, and you want to update the requirements. So here, this view should not be called requirement sources. This is a mistake because it's the same name. Here we have an update tools. So if you are just, I need to edit the file, otherwise this will be useless. So let's change it to 2.0. So here it reparse the document and display you a report. So we can see that the tests have not changed. And if we are going on the requirements, you can see that the attribute has changed. And you also see the list impacted by this change of requirement. So you can either cancel or validate. Let's say we really want. Are you kidding me? At least it have moved here to V2. So that's all. So if you want to have more information or to download the software, everything is open source, and here are the contacts. So if there is any question.
The sample data that you've been showing for the Rover, is that available as well?
It will.
Okay.
We are working on putting in on a repository for demonstration purpose.
That's one of the issues I've had is, you get the software and it's great, but without sample data to actually
try it,
operate on and see, it's difficult.
Okay.
That would be very, very helpful.
We are working on that with the Polarsys guys. Anyone? Oh, so I will put the URL. Thank you.